I wanted to shoot a little video and give you an idea, pass or fail, whether or not the RecordPi vinyl flattening kit actually works. So I've seen a lot of comments online from people saying why would they spend $250 to flatten an old record when they can just go out and buy a new one. Well, here's an example. This is my original copy of the 1986 Drum Corps International World Championship Finals, Volume 1, which includes the first place Blue Devils. This record has been out of print for a very long time and holds a lot of sentimental value to me. It's basically impossible to replace, and as I'm going to show you in a second here, it's got a pretty bad warp in it. And while playable, it's not perfect, and we're going to try and fix it. So here's the record, and as you can see, if we come down here, there's a pretty bad warp in it. Right there. And there's another one on the other side, over here. Oops, there we go. And it comes from being young and not knowledgeable about vinyl and leaving this record in storage for a very long time and just basically not knowing until later in life how to properly care for vinyl. Let's put it on the turntable and see how it looks. So this is my Riga P6. I have a Fluence anti-static mat underneath, and as you can see, as it's rotating around, the warp is very visible. And as I said, this record plays, doesn't skip. I think partially, in fact, that this turntable is a very good turntable. But even with a Fluence heavy-weighted center record weight, this record is just not ever going to sit flat in its current condition. So we're going to see if investing $250 in the RecordPi can save my precious record. So the RecordPi kit is similar to other vinyl flattening kits with a couple of main differences. The first of which is the heating bag that is part of the process. This is a custom-made bag, obviously the RecordPi logo, and inside you have the temperature control unit, which I'll get to in a second, the power supply, and then in here are the stainless steel platters, and we'll talk about those in just a second. The temperature control module allows you to connect to Wi-Fi, and you can actually watch your results in near real time so that you can control the unit remotely. If you're going to work, for example, and you want to leave a record on for an extended period of time, or if you want to turn it on maybe later in the day, or turn it off if you're out running around doing some errands or whatnot. Also included in the package is the temperature probe. There's a set of 3 felt pads that you're going to use to sandwich the vinyl, and then the actual steel plates themselves, bottom and top. They are connected with this offset wing nut, and there's a, hard to see, but a black rubber washer underneath there to keep things snug but not overly tight. So the RecordPi comes with 3 felt mats. There's a full size, there's one with the center for the label cut out, which is used for dish warps, which is what we're going to try first, and then there's a 45. So I've taken the top plate off, and I've got the larger mat underneath here, so I'm going to remove this mat and put on the center cutout one, which you'll see in just a second. Here's the mat that has the center cut out for the label. We're going to go ahead and put our record on. We're going to sandwich the other one on top, and then we'll put the top plate on. All right, so here we are with everything assembled. Our record is sandwiched in between these plates. I've got this nut tightened down to a little bit better than finger tight to give it a little bit of force, but not a lot of excess force. And the next step is to slide it into the bag, turn the system on, and then see what happens. Fingers crossed. So we've got the record and plates in the bag into the sleeve. I've also put the temperature probe in off to the side slightly, so it's not resting on the metal plates. And then we're going to zip it up and fire it. Here's everything plugged into the control panel for the RecordPi. The white cable is the power cord that connects the heating bag itself. The black cable just goes to an outlet, and then the small cable is the other end of the temperature probe. Now, I've already gone through the setup to connect this to my Wi-Fi, but it was a pretty simple setup. The only thing I would recommend is making sure ahead of time that your router is set up for 2.4 gigahertz only. It will not work on 5 gigahertz. So to turn the unit on, we hit the power button. It's going to take just a second to boot up. You're going to get a temperature inside the bag, the temperature that you want the device to heat to. The recommended start target is 125 degrees Fahrenheit. You do have the ability to change that Fahrenheit to Celsius. And then from there, we're going to let it go for about 2 hours. I should point out, by the way, that it does take about a half an hour to 45 minutes to come up to temperature, and then we're going to let it run for the 2 hours. Here you can see the result. It's a pretty dramatic result. After 3 hours, this cool time, it's an almost perfectly flat record. Let's go ahead and play it and see how it sounds and tracks.